Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Mental Health. So, I would say today's topic's a bit heavier than the other sort of two that I've spoke about previously, and it's about night terrors, bad dreams, or even just dreams in general, and sort of how to rationalize them and how to make sense of them. So, you know what I mean when, if you've experienced night terrors, or things triggered from PTSD, it's an awful feeling. And sleep is your sort of way of switching off from the world. You're resting. If you ask somebody what you sort of want to do to live a healthy life, one of the top things is make sure you're getting enough rest, make sure your sleep's good. But what if every time you go to sleep, you sort of enter your worst nightmare, and it can be so terrifying having night terrors that you wake up and you are physically and emotionally drained before the day's even begun. And the initial thought comes that, why should I sleep if when I go to sleep, I don't feel rested, I feel drained, I feel emotionally attacked, and I feel traumatized from something I've created in my own brain. How can I possibly go and deal with the day? It's a real difficult sort of phase to go through, and there's so many different ways to work around it. When you're in that feeling of sort of helplessness, things might go on in your head during the day. You might be able to distract yourself from them when you're awake, but when you're sleeping, they can catch up with you, and in a visual form, they're more terrifying than they could be in as fleeting thoughts in your brain throughout the day. So, what tends to work, and the first step is the comfort of knowing that what occurs in your dreams is a movie that you've created in your brain. So it's not like something out of your control. Like when you are asleep and it's your subconscious controlling what movie you're going to show to yourself in your head that night, you can't just be like, I'm stopping that, let's put the happy dream on. It sadly doesn't work like that. But when you're waking up, you might be in a state of complete panic, fear, distress. The knowing that there's nothing externally around you that is causing you harm, and it is like bad thoughts that you've had in your brain, but the magic of dreaming is you're able to visualize it, and sometimes it can feel like you're there. You might have imagined that something really scary was happening in your bedroom, and imagined how your bedroom is as it currently is there. So it feels surreal. So when you wake up and you look around your bedroom, you still expect everything that you've just imagined in your dream to be around you, and it's really hard to kind of settle down and get back into a place where you want to return to dreamland, feel relaxed and safe. Well, the knowing that it is, you are imagining your room because it was the last thing you saw, perhaps, and you might have fear of, like, some deep-rooted fears, worries that visualize themselves in your dream. So while you're awake, you might think, oh, that'd be bad if that happened. Or you might have this sort of thing that you've not even addressed. Maybe it's something that happened to you years ago, and you just put it in a little lockbox and you put it away in your brain. We don't open that box when we're awake, but when we're asleep, we're not really in control. So something that you've locked away and you avoid can manifest itself in your dreams, and it's not haunting you. It might feel like that. You can't escape from it. But as long as it's somewhere in your brain could tune into it as sort of an ingredient for tonight's dream. and that's what turns it into a night terror, because it's something that causes a general emotional response within you. It's something you've unresolved, something that was trauma from your past, and it's still there, and it's almost like it's happening again because you're reliving it in the dream. It feels so real. So what I found initially for me, well, after knowing that it's me that's kind of come up with this, it's like, okay, how can I sort of work around it? Little things like home comforts in around you when you're coming out of that dream. If I'm, sometimes I might just message a friend if I see they're awake. I'm just like, yo, can I just talk to you about this dream I just had? But then I kind of will feel sort of guilt, maybe if I've had a few night terrors that week. It's like, is there going to be a point where they're just getting a bit sick? Like, oh, bloody hell, it's 4 a.m. Nick's just popped up. So I really challenged myself to sort of manage it myself, and I found that keeping a dream journal next to the bed helps, because as long as you're keeping something bottled up in your brain, it's almost like you're just trying to hold it down. Like, imagine there's a little demon trying to attack you and you're just pinning it down and it's pushing against you, but you just keep pushing it down. Think how much energy goes into that physical process. Well, that's what you're doing in your brain. Well, you might have become so habitually used to it that you're kind of used to just kind of bottling it up and keeping this thing to yourself. So for me, I've found just waking up from a dream and writing it into a journal, it just helps. It just gets it out of my brain and onto a bit of paper. And sometimes as simple as that, I've found recently that helps me overcome it, because once you read it, what you've just had a dream about, it's almost like it's different to how it feels in your brain. It's like your creative brain is suffering with the visual effects of it, but then when you're reading it, it's like your factual brain tunes into it and thinks, well, actually. And I've found, one, by doing this, I'm able to kind of track where each thing in my dream has come from. So, I mean, I had a dream the other day where Logan Paul and Donald Trump had a Twitter feud, and Logan Paul said to Donald Trump, if I ever see you in person, I'm giving you a 2-footed kick. And Donald Trump decided he's not president anymore. He's gonna go and attack Logan Paul because he doesn't like him. And Logan Paul's out for a run. Donald Trump runs up to him, and Logan Paul double foot kicks him like he said he would. But Donald Trump turns out to be a mad wrestler and picks Logan Paul up in the air and body slams him on the ground. And I stand at the side of my friend and I say, I feel like I should do something, but just seeing what sort of strength Donald Trump just exhibited, I should go over and stop this. And there was a bottle of Budweiser on the sides and a pen. And my friend said to me in the dream, no, don't use the bottle because you might kill him. You don't want to kill the ex-president. I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. No, you're right. I'll take the pen. And I didn't think about it. I just took the pen and I went up and stabbed him with it. But then Donald Trump died. And me and Logan Paul stood around like, yo, what do we do? Oh my god, how are we going to cover this up? Oh my god. Don't worry. It was a dream. But I did wake up in this sort of panic. Like, oh my god, I've just killed the ex-president. What are we going to do? Oh my god, how are me and Logan Paul going to resolve this whole thing? Oh my god, my god, my god. And I was like, wait. I'm in my room. I don't even know Logan Paul on a personal level. I watch the videos, but I don't, he doesn't know who I am. Oh, I didn't kill Donald Trump with a pen. Now, that is sort of, it's easy to sort of talk about and laugh about. I wrote that in my dream journal, and at the time I was panicked about it. I've had much worse dreams, but I just feel like sharing them doesn't have sort of a comedic effect. Even if you've never experienced a night terror, it's still kind of funny. Um, I wouldn't describe that as a night terror though, just a problematic scenario dream. But what I was able to sort of extract from that, how did I come up with that dream? Well, I'd actually been watching a Logan Paul video that day, and it was around the time where Donald Trump was no longer president after he'd been posting on social media loads that he was gonna, you know, in denial that he was, he thought he was gonna keep his presidency. So those two things were on my mind when I went to sleep. There was a bottle of Budweiser on the side of my room, and I'd been using pens earlier in the night for Dungeons and Dragons. And I'd been watching some wrestling with my flatmate. So all these 5 factors got used as an ingredient by my brain to create this very weird cosmopolitan cocktail dream where Logan Paul and Donald Trump have a wrestling match. So once I was able to sort of identify that, it kind of makes sense to me why I came up with that dream rather than just seeing it as like, where did these dreams come from? I have no control over them. Oh my god. As soon as you realize it's like little things that you kind of expose yourself to throughout the day, they can sit in your brain and then just manifest themselves in a dream. So once you kind of understand how the concept of dreams work, one, it's easier to sort of rationalize and sort of neutralize a bad dream if you've just had it. You might have had a bad dream because, oh yeah, I watched a horror film the other night, and in my dream I was being chased by a character that very closely resembled this thing in the movie. Maybe I should take a break from horror films for a bit because I didn't like that. 2, you should find things that really calm you down. A really big one, aside from just writing it in a journal, just making it more factual, easier to rationalize as a concept. Putting on some TV, something very light-hearted, something that will make you laugh. It breaks you out of this state of panic. I have this, I don't know where I got it from. Nothing bad can ever happen to me when Friends is on. So I know that I have this unjustified belief that I believe with all my heart that while Friends is on, no harm can ever come to me. So I use that for when I have a bad dream. I'll be like, right, that was horrible. That was absolutely horrible. I'm going to turn the light on. I'm going to put Friends on. Might have a little scroll. Write it down in a journal. Just going to watch Friends. On my thirsty, I'm going to have some water. Yeah, that's cool. Now just try and relax. And I feel reassured that I've got this thing in the background that just makes me feel comforted and safe, and that will then lead me to go back to sleep. It's just a dream. It's something you came up with yourself. It's like when you sit there and you're daydreaming and you think negative things, and it's like, whoa, 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 stop that. No. I'm going to do something to take my mind off it. I'm going to go have a conversation with my mate about something completely unrelated, or I'm going to go do a sport that I enjoy. I'm going to read my book, because once I'm in that book, I'm elsewhere. I'm going to play the game that I enjoy, because it just takes my mind off this bad thought process that I'm having. And when you're dreaming, you unfortunately can't do that. But what you are able to do is come out of the dream and sort of think about what is it in your brain that sort of triggered that. Like, where did the ingredients come from? And once you sort of track the ingredients, you can make sense of it, and then you may be able to go into those dreams again with sort of an educated response. Like, right, I'm not as afraid of you now, because I know I'm only thinking about you because you were in a horror movie I watched the other day. Well, I'll tell you what, when I wake up, I'm not watching a horror movie, I'm watching Friends. So you've got no power over me, really. I'm not afraid. And just being able to sort of comfort yourself like that, rather than thinking about dreams as something that you can't escape from and you don't have power over. Being able to sort of break them down, see where they're coming from, and working out ways that help you mitigate them can really help at least give you some comfort around night terrors. If it is a case that you have unresolved issues and they do manifest themselves in your dream a lot, then my advice would be to try and, if you can, think about that issue that you have. How long ago was it? Is it recent? And is there any control you have over it now? Is there anything that you could do that might ease your conscience a little bit when you think about that thought? Because that is part of you, who you are. It's your experience that you've lived with, and there's something about it that's keeping it hanging around with you like emotional baggage. It might be in the back of your brain all the time, but when you're sleeping, it's coming to the front of your brain and it's haunting you in a way. And if you are able to sit there and tell yourself, no, there is literally nothing I can do about that now, at least you've sat and thought about it, and then you can get some sort of reassurance. But if there is something you can do about it, then do it, because the best way to live is in a way that will make sure you get sleep at night easier and you have a good rest. We want to live a life with no sort of things hanging over us, nothing that will creep back on us, just a happy life. And you've got to sometimes, unfortunately, face your demons to do so, and in exchange you get a good night's sleep. And if it doesn't go well, you can come home and watch Friends, write about it, getting it out on a bit of paper, just making it a factual thing that you can look at, justify how could you have done it better. Is there still something I can do? And little things like that. And if all else fails, I found that chamomile tea before bed, it might not taste amazing, but it grows on you. It just helped calm me down. Having a sort of nighttime routine, and you can get over-the-counter sleeping medication, which you take one a night, and it can just, you might end up finding yourself being too tired from the sort of like 20 minutes before it kicks in to really think too much, and you might have like a, you can't worry before you go to sleep because you're too drowsy to even think about it. So if all else fails, you can do that. But just, I wouldn't say, if you've taken one before bed, then you have a few hours sleep, you wake up, oh, I can't get back to sleep, I'm going to take another one. Don't do that, that's bad. Now if that happens, get up, get yourself a glass of water, turn the light on, write down what you've just dreamed, and put on something that grounds you. If you hear laughter on the TV, Ross and Rachel having another argument, oh, it's classic Ross and Rachel, Chandler comes in, he does a funny dance, get involved in that and remind yourself that you're okay and you're safe. And if you've never experienced this, I hope that I've sort of provided some sort of insight into ways that you can support your friends that are struggling with night terrors, some tools that can be used. I've not covered every single one, just ones that I've found have been helpful for me. And if anything, I hope I at least gave you a little bit of a chuckle with my Logan Paul and Donald Trump story. But I hope everybody's well, and as I say, this channel is literally just to get people talking about mental health more, bring awareness into what it's like living with mental health issues and ways to overcome it. Because there's no battle in life that we're given that we aren't strong enough to handle. It's just knowing how to overcome it and having the tools to fight those sort of battles within yourself, or encourage your friends to do it. Build each other up. Positive vibes. I'll catch you in the next one. I hope everybody's well, and take care. Peace.